everybody, welcome back to the Bubble Daddy Soap YouTube channel. My name is Trevor and today we are doing something a little bit different. Today we are going to make my white sage and sea salt soap with white sage and sea salt from Nature's Garden. And we are going to use what is called the room temperature cold process, or the heat transfer method of soap making. And what that means is that I'm going to put my sodium hydroxide into my water, stir it up, wait for it to turn clear. Once it's turned clear, we're going to use the 200-degree lye water to mix into our hard oils. And here I've got coconut oil and palm oil that I've mashed up with a potato masher to break it into some smaller pieces. And what that's going to do is that's going to melt our oils down. Once that's melted down, we're going to add our soft oils. In here I've got olive oil and castor oil, and I've mixed that with some oil-soluble titanium dioxide because I want to get a nice white soap out of this. Then we will stick blend to trace, and after that everything continues as normal. Now this is a technique that is fairly advanced. It is not something I recommend if it is your first couple of batches of soap. If it is your first few batches of soap, I recommend going with the normal, conventional method of melting your oils down, letting your lye and your oils come to within 10 degrees of each other, usually within 90 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, before starting the whole process. But I know my recipe. I've done this countless times. Well, I've done the cold process countless times. I'm familiar with how the recipe works. I've tested the heat transfer method. I know that it works with this recipe, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to mix our sodium hydroxide into our water. And the way you wanna do this is sodium hydroxide into the water, never the other way around. If you go the other way around, it will volcano on you, and then you will have a caustic mess all over yourself, all over your kitchen, all over anything that happens to be around. It's extremely difficult to clean up. Lye burns can be extremely painful and extremely dangerous, so I recommend being very, very careful with this. So we're gonna go ahead, oh, also there's gonna be some fumes. So when I pour this, I'm gonna stop talking because I don't wanna inhale any of this. You wanna do this in a well-ventilated area. So we're gonna go ahead and add this, and then I'm gonna keep stirring until this turns clear again, and then we're gonna get started by pouring it into here and starting stirring. So this is about as clear as it's going to get. And I do notice that there's some little bits of schmutz in there that I don't want to wind up in my soap, so I went ahead and got a sieve. And I'm going to pour this through the sieve to sort of strain off any crap. Now you can see that almost at once our oils have started to melt. And what we're going to do is we're going to stir this until it's completely fluid. Okay, so now my oils are completely fluid and mixed with the lye. My hard oils are. So now we're going to take the stick blender, get that in there, and we're going to take my soft oils, my olive oil and my castor oil, and we're going to slowly pour down the neck of the stick blender, just like that. Scrape out the bowl. And we're going to mix this until we get a thin trace. Okay, so now we've got a thin trace. Set that aside. And I am going to pour some of this off into different containers. Okay, now that we've got these poured off, we're going to go ahead and add our colorants. I have got some jade green crystal mica, that's nature identical mica from Nurture Soap, which we are going to add to one of these. And then I have some brilliant blue mica, which we are going to this one. And then, rather than stick blend these in, I'm actually going to mix them in by hand. So I'm going to set that aside. We're going to start with the green. gonna go ahead and add our fragrance oil. Going to stir that in by hand. Got my fragrance oil mixed in. As you can see, I've taken my 5-pound brambleberry mold and lined it with freezer paper. And the reason I've done this instead of using the silicone liner is because I wanted the bars to be bigger, and that silicone liner actually takes up quite a bit of space. These bars will be a full ½ an inch wider on overall. So now that I've got this set up, I'm gonna just start pouring. Go ahead and go down and back like that. And then we're gonna go down. Like that from up high. Break all that up. And we're going to take this stuff, oops, and apparently pour it directly off the side of the mold. Like more white. So now that I've scraped out my molds, we're going to go ahead and just sort of gently bounce this around to make sure that it gets even and in the corners like we want it to. Just like that. I would like to point out also that Brambleberry sells this mold as a 5-pound mold. And in it right now, I have almost 6 pounds. A lot of soap companies do that. A lot of soap suppliers do that. They deliberately understate the amount that their molds can hold because it is better to say it can hold less and have it be able to hold more than the other way around. That tends to make people very angry. Whereas this is mostly just a pleasant surprise. Okay, so now we're going to spray it down with rubbing alcohol. and that is my white sage and sea salt soap. I will probably attach a cutting video to this just because it seems like one of those things that I need to do for this particular soap because it was a method that you guys haven't seen me use before. That I will have to film in 24 to 48 hours, so I will see you then. Okay, so it's been about 48 hours. I actually took this soap out of the mold yesterday, but wanted to give it a little bit of a chance to harden up on the sides a bit more before I tried to cut it. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut into this and see what it looks like. I've got it set up in my wire cutter, which I love. So let's find out how this looks. Ooh, that's pretty. No stearic acid spots, no issues with it hardening up. Everything seemed to go really well. I'm really pleased. I really like this technique. It saves me a lot of time. So I will probably use it again. Got the first half done, or the first 3/4 of it done. Let's do the rest of it. Let's see how this goes. Pretty little end piece that will be kept for us because we usually keep the end pieces. Not to mention doing it with the freezer paper, the corners aren't always perfect, so this one actually is a little lopsided. The rest of them are great. I'm super excited for these. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This is the white sage and sea salt soap using the heat transfer or room temperature cold process method. If you like this video, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Feel free to share it with your friends. If you want to get notifications when I post new videos, which is multiple times a week, hit that bell icon down below. Once again, I've been Trevor with the Bubble Daddy Soap Company, and I will see you guys soon.